This is a overview of the Altorney Relativity integration. Altorney is a marketplace platform for sourcing and managing your document reviewers and other legal talent. It has lots of different tools for helping to manage the overall process. In regards to relativity, we start off by adding instances. So you can see here we've already got an instance created. We connect to both Relativity 1 and to Relativity Server using the APIs. You can see here we support both password and OAuth authentication. We've already got the system set up, and we can see that it is connected to the Relativity instance. So the next step that we will do is set up a workspace. It'll go ahead, it'll prompt you for the Relativity instance, the workspace that we want to connect, who the client is, and then how often do we want to poll the Relativity instance. You can set it to be every certain number of minutes interval, hourly, a daily check, or never if you just want to connect and not actually poll it on a regular basis. For this, we'll go ahead and we'll do a 15-minute check. So let's go ahead and hit save. We now have the instance connected. And the next step is the system will bring up all of your choice fields, your yes, no fields, and ask which ones do we want to enable, or in other words, which ones do we want to track what the reviewers are doing in a individual case. And when you select some fields, you also can go ahead and determine what is the value that a reviewer will get for getting a review decision right versus what is the value that they would get if they get it wrong. So you can have different values for each of your decisions. Once that is set up, then as the system reaches out, it'll track everything here. You'll be able to see an audit log of every time that we access the individual workspace and pull data and how many documents, how many reviewers, et cetera, But now let's go into one of our cases within Altorney, and we will go ahead and manage relativity, set it up to say, okay, this is the workspace that we want to be talking to. And we have a number of different integration points. One is the ability to manage relativity users. When I add a reviewer through the Altorney case interface, then I can have it automatically set up my users in the proper workspace with the right security groups. Or I could say, no, I want to still manually manage my relativity users. And all I want to do is allow it to access my audits, which will be used for tracking things such as metrics and time. The other thing with the relativity users is that when a reviewer is removed from a case in Altorney, it can automatically disable that user in relativity as well. So I would go ahead, if I wanted to, I could say, yes, I want to go ahead and have it manage those things. And then once it's enabled, you can do things like track different metrics. You can see on your list of reviewers how many documents that they've reviewed, what their overall metrics are, and then I can dig into different fields. I can say, okay, just for privilege, how are the different reviewers doing? This reviewer, pretty accurate and decently fast, versus this one is kind of middle of the road, but kind of not quite as accurate. This one's much more accurate, still middle of the road. This one really accurate, but a little bit slower. So all of this information is gathered on an individual case basis. I can also see it for each individual reviewer. I can dig in, and when I'm going to pick my reviewers at the start of a case, I can see their metrics normalized across all the cases that they've worked on. So now I get a objective view of each reviewer in order to understand what have they done, what's their averages, where do they generally fall in when it comes to their accuracy, when it comes to their speed, et cetera. And then when it comes time to actually look at my my time. So I can go ahead and I can track for each reviewer how much time they entered into the system. But then I can also see for those reviewers, for example here, how long did we track them in Relativity? And we can do automated alerts. And not only is this information available to the approver, to the admin or the review manager, but it's also shown directly to the reviewers. So it's all about transparency, giving the reviewers as much information ahead of the time so that they can see how long we track them within Relativity versus how long they're looking to bill, as well as how many documents have they reviewed, et cetera, et cetera. So all of this is part of the overall offering within Altorney to help to track and manage the reviewers, giving more insight and more transparency into what reviewers are doing on any given project, but also across all of the projects that they work on.